So we're just playing with finding that center inside. Where is it today? How do you experience it as something that keeps you from falling forward, falling backward, to the side? Floating up, going down into the earth. Find where that center is inside. And then just, if you find that center, breathe into it. Let yourself be curious about that center. We're finding center inside. Where is that? Where's that place in the body that keeps you from falling over one way or the other way? And if you find that center, then really breathe into it. Curious about it, get to know it. Wonderful. So let's start with the goddess chant for today. Everything lost is found again in a new form, in a new way. We'll say that again. Everything lost is found again in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again in a new time, in a new day. Everything hurt is healed again in a new time, in a new day. Change is, touch is. Change is, touch is.
I was going to call and response.
Touch is, change is.
Touch
is, change is. Change us, touch us, touch us, change us, change us, touch us, touch us, change us, change us, touch us, touch us, change us, change us, touch us, touch us, change us. Welcome. I wanted to, I'll share with you a couple of different ones, but this one I'd like to start with again because I'm focused on the one which is called the Wheel of Life. And let yourself just kind of, let your eyes just softly go into that wheel of life as I speak. I want to talk today about, someone brought up last time, centripetal and centrifugal.
Centrifugal, centripetal, and centrifugal.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's with a P and an F. Centripetal and centrifugal. So centripetal is the force in which something moving in a circle is pulled into center. So you can see, depending upon how you look at this, that there's a certain centripetal force and a centrifugal. They're both. You could see them. The way that parts of this person's kind of body is pulling towards center, and parts that are going away from. And a matter of fact, you can almost see it as like the scattering of like some of the light in the background going out. Like that's what centrifugal force is. It's like if you take a something on a string and you're making it go around and around on top of your head, and you let go of the string, it no longer has a center point, so it flies out. It doesn't fly towards you, it flies out. That's centrifugal. So it's no longer has a center, and it's going outward. Centripetal, if you hold that center, it's like you have your hands out and you're turning, and all of a sudden, if you bring them in, you can feel that sense of coming into the center, of how the center is pulling us. So why are we talking about this? Is because it's the whole process of what's going on in the universe. The sun has this huge centripetal force that allows the other planets to use it as its center. It literally pulls the planets around it so that they have this centripetal center line to whirl around. Now, if the sun wasn't there, the planets would not have that kind of center. So why was the sun called Ra? Because it was seen as a god. It was seen as something so much larger than what we, the people of Egypt anyway, had on this earth, because they were circling around the sun. They knew that. The sun was always there in different cycles, different times of day and night, and you could only know it by circling around it. We cannot know the sun by going there. So this is what it is to know an archetype, or to know something that is a universal ideal, like the wheel of life, the wheel of fortune. We cannot go there directly. We can't become the sun, we can't become the wheel, but we can circle it. That's why the wheel is so important as like a beginner, because the wheel encompasses the circle, and that circle is the basic symbol of eternity, unity, beginning and end, meeting. Wholeness. It represents, and you can see in our culture, it's so prevalent, the halo, the crown, the wedding ring, all these different things that represent the circle, that wholeness. And so we're circling the wholeness. We're continually trying to circle. How do we find that amazing piece of the universe that is, in this case, dynamic, constantly in motion, constantly changing, this cyclical nature of our lives? The only way we can do it is we have to have a little bit of a sense of center. Otherwise, you're literally, you go off into a centrifugal experience where you are no longer circling, right? Because you don't circle anymore when you're in the centrifugal. So, the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is such a great example of a symbol of, here we were in this wholeness in the Garden of Eden. We had everything supposedly we needed. This is just like a beautiful myth. In this Garden of Eden, we're circling, in a sense, the beauty, the amazing experience of having everything provided for us, and suddenly something happens that we are pushed off center, and we are literally told to leave. So that is the difference between when we're in centripetal, we actually feel a sense of connectedness, of unity. And when we are in centrifugal, going out on our own path, doing our own thing, we don't feel we belong. So this is such a beautiful card to remind us to come back into that center, to start to know what it is like to circle around something, to allow ourselves to become into relationship with it enough that we can start to kind of get the smells of it, get the tastes of it, get the whole senses begin to become connected. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, that's one of the things in the primary sort of schema Moinadine had for soul work, where was the conscious self and the basic selves and high self. And the whole idea was to let conscious self attune to begin to circle around high self. And then the basic selves are sort of then turning around conscious self and high self. You can think there's the sun, that would be high self. You're the earth, you're circling around it. Here's the moon circling around you, but now it's circling around high self because that's your intention. So each self will circle around something different. Right. The protectors are circling around trying to protect you. The hurt ones are circling around their hurt and pain. And so we want to sort of tune our system to begin to find that center pode that Yaya is talking about, which is high self. How do we circle around high self? And conscious self has that choice. When conscious self is blended with other selves or other parts, the choice is gone. It's like, some part that, and there might be something decent you're circling around, like maybe I'm going to do my master's thesis, so I'm really circling around doing that, right? So there are different things but it's when there's that conscious choice of what am I going to circle around. But always at the center, there's the circling around high self, the source, the beloved. That's the center point in soul work, and then everything comes into alignment as we circle. And the other thing was any archetype, any universal ideal from that depth psychological perspective can never be known directly. It can be known in different images will come up, okay. Feelings, behaviors, whatever. So we're exploring the mystery of the wheel here.
Right. And this is a great example of that center line of the Wheel of Fortune, this card, where you can see that no matter where this being is circling, this being is in that center line.
Wow. Yeah.
So let's come into our center. Let's begin to play. It's really about being curious, because the earth is also pulling us with its gravity. Otherwise, we'd spin off the earth. We wouldn't be here. So we've got all these center lines happening. So coming into the body and finding your own center line, just breathing in for a moment. Let's do the water breath again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And just really feel that sense of your center. See if you can find it anywhere. Feel how the center can change. So now we're going to just play with what it's like to be off center. So just for a moment, let yourself take a little bit of a wider stance. And every time you breathe in from that center. And then when you breathe out, let yourself kind of be moved in some direction and watch how it pulls you off center. If you don't, it's kind of like it's natural. Go far to the right, go far to the left, go up on your toes. So let yourself feel that way in which your body's going to go one way or another way. Don't try to hold the center. Let yourself feel what it feels like when you go off. Dare to let yourself feel that sense of a little bit of falling to the right or falling to the left. Feel that moment before you fall, where if you go too far, it's really delicate. If you go a little bit too far, you can't catch yourself. Coming back to that in-breath, and then just find that little moment where you know, wow, I've bowed or I've bended or I've gone in some direction a little bit too much. Just one or two more times like that, just really feeling that sense of how delicate it is to keep that balance. And then, as you're ready, coming back to center again. Breathing in, especially to that lower center in your belly. Before you go up into the heart, we really want to know that we've got that nice lower center balanced, and really our legs are about shoulder width apart, and we can really feel that sense of coming down into the earth, so we can bend our knees as we breathe out. Really feeling that way, we can bring our center right down into the center of the earth, and the earth is pulling us with its centripetal force of gravity. So it's connecting our center in the hara, right below the belly button, with its center and with its connection to the sun. So just let yourself feel that for a moment. Our center into the center of the earth, into the center of the sun, all circling. And then begin to let the hips circle on the exhale, just a little tiny bit, really slowly and really small. They're going to circle to the left. And each time you breathe out, they'll increase just a little bit more. And as the turning of your hips increases, I want you to see if you can stay with the center, finding it. Breathing in, coming back to center. Letting the hips slowly increase their motion. But finding that center line, even when they're turning. So remember that center line is we are connected to the earth, the center of the earth. The center of the earth is connected to the sun. You could say the sun is connected to the whole universe.
You're saying that even though the hips are moving all around, I'm holding that imaginal center line through?
Yeah. You're finding that center line in your body, whether it's in the hara or you feel it as a whole center line through your whole body. Right now, finding it at least in your hara. Every time you breathe in, you can let the hips come to a stop, and then letting them start back up again, slowly and a little quicker. And then let's do it to the right. Let's turn to the right this time as you begin to exhale. Really slowly at first, still finding that center line. What are the hips turning around? Conscious self, this part inside that is really witnessing, that is remaining still, the still point. Might be easier to bend your knees a little bit as you move your hips. And one more time. And breathing in. This time you're going to move your whole torso now, your hips and your torso around that center point. Imagine that they're centripetally drawn, but so they start off really slowly moving your torso with your upper chest, lower chest, all moving in this very slow circle with each exhale. And again, you're going to find that center, that still point that it's moving around. That sense of center. It doesn't even have to be still, but it's a very alive. And in the middle, we dance. The stars formed a circle, and in the middle, we dance, Rumi says. So we're finding that middle. When you increase the speed just a little bit. And we'll go the other way to the right. And then one more time. And coming back to the center line again. And beginning to find that place where you can feel that center line even when your body is moving. And I want your shoulders to move. The right shoulder moves a little bit forward, the left shoulder moves to the back. And it just has this kind of circular motion of right shoulder moving forward, left shoulder moving back, and then they move back into place. So we'll do this too. As we then begin to move our torso and our hips. So we can stop. We can let the shoulders move even when we're breathing in, if it helps us to just feel that just light sense of the shoulders moving, and then we can add the rest of the movement when we breathe out.
Am I trying to move my torso and hips, or are they just following the shoulders? Because they sort of want to naturally follow the shoulders, or?
Well, they're moving more in a circle than in a wave. So you can imagine that they would want to move around. So imagine the circle motion. Yeah, and you're going to have to move them a little bit. But they kind of start to naturally move with it. So you're moving more of your body, and see what happens when you do that. How can you find your center line? And let's change our shoulders to the opposite. Left one moving forward, right one back. And as we do that, we can then on the exhale move more of the torso and the hips. We're just imagining that we're turning around and around without doing the full turn. We're finding that center as we do this. And then coming to stillness again and breathing in, breathing out. And on the next exhale, we'll be turning our heads and our necks to the left. As we do that, begin to get the rest of it in motion. The shoulders, the torso, the hips. It's subtle. It doesn't have to be moving anymore all the way in a circle. But you're just letting that motion of imagining that your whole body is turning around this inner pole inside. Connected to the inside depths of the earth, connected to the sun, connected to the universe. And then doing it to the right on the next breath. Starting with your head and then adding. And then breathing in again, coming to center. Breathing out. And this time letting your body and this turning turn around your left leg on the exhale. So you're breathing in to center, and then you let the turning of the hips and the head, everything turns towards the left. And then stop whenever their breath stops. Breathe in again, and then just turn some more. And as you do this, begin again to find that center. Where is it now? It may not be spinning as fast, but it's still spinning, and you can let it just continue to spin as you stop now, just with that little motion through your whole body. It's turning around that center line. As you breathe in, it stops, but you're spinning in one place, you could say. And then you spin around your foot on that exhale. While your body, your arms just gently spin around. You imagine your hips, and then you breathe in, and the whole body spins around your center. On that inhale, and on the exhale, you just spin around your leg. And then come back to center again. And let your arms moving, just letting them be heavy, but imagine they're spinning to the left. They're going like in a circle, just like your hips are going in a circle to the left. Your whole upper chest is going in a circle, and that will be happening on every exhale. You're just spinning, spinning. And then on every inhale, you just watch how the body, if you don't pull it back into shape, it will just naturally spin. Just let it come back to its own quietness. Finding the center always on the exhale, spinning a little bit more with motion. You're bringing that your own energy into it as you exhale. To turn it, to let it move. Let it just gently move around, and as you let it move around and then you stop on the inhale, watch, if you don't just stop it, how the whole body continues to move. Always spinning, always circling. And then again on that exhale. If you want to do this on your right, you can also do it on your right. Like a merry-go-round, like anything that is going around and around. When you get it going quickly and you can keep the center, then you can let go, breathe in, and it just all moves on its own. Still coming back to center. Feel the motion still in your body, in your cells, everything turning, everything going around and around and around. Every exhale, we accentuate the turning, just letting the arms turn, the hips turn, the torso turn, the head a little bit, just finding that center line. And then as we inhale, letting it come back into its own slow down motion of turning around your center. Feel how your hands at your side, if you really let them start to turn around in circles, they kind of want to go out. They naturally just kind of, the air, the centrifugal force just pulls them out. But as you breathe in and let them just come back to center, they naturally come back. Slow down. This beautiful process of watching how we speed up in the day. On that exhale, we're speeding up. Get our minds going. Our whole bodies are spinning. We don't know what we're spinning around anymore. Maybe a project, maybe we're kind of in chaos. But when we slow down again and come into that inhale, we're just back in the center line. So now letting the center line be what you circle in just teeny tiny circlings. You might not even be able to see it on the outside, but you can feel your whole being circling one way or another way inside this deep center that goes from the top of your head all the way down through your perineum, connects through the soles of your feet all the way into the center of the earth. So feel that strength of that pull, that center line, even as your body is gently, really tinily turning around this center. With each breath, constant motion, one breath after another breath. Maybe we stop for a moment, but the atoms are always turning inside. Sometimes our minds are always turning. And let's come down into this quietness and find a seat.
To begin to just turn around your breath again, the flow of the breath in and out of your heart. Keeping that center pole from the cosmos to the top of the head, down through the center of your body, out of the perineum into the center of the earth. Keeping that pole, and in the center of that there's your heart, so the breath flowing in and out of your heart. Take for a moment and imagine as you breathe in that the life force, the life energy flows down into your heart on the inhale. And hold for a minute, feel it in your heart. As you exhale, feel that going down through the lower chakras, down through the perineum, into the center of the earth as you exhale. And as you hold on the exhale for a moment, and as you inhale again, coming up from the center of the earth into your heart, holding. And then as you exhale up that pole into the starry heavens. So it's your own rhythm, again, breathing, inhaling from the heavens down that pole into the center of your heart, holding for a moment. As you exhale, going into the center of the earth, holding on the exhale for a moment, and then breathing in again. So you're always breathing into the heart, you're breathing in and up, breathing in and then up on the exhale, and breathing in and down on the inhale. Just really breathing up and down that pole in the center of your body with your heart at the very center of everything. And ask any cells that are busy or worried or somewhere else to step aside. Right now, this is the focus. This is what we're centering on. You can join me, you can say to those cells, or you can relax somewhere else. And as you continue to do that for the invocation, I'm going to ask Yaya to share that Rumi poem again.
We came whirling out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust. The stars made a circle, and in the middle we dance. The wheel of heaven circles God like a mill. If you grab a spoke It will tear your hand off. Turning and turning, it sunders all attachment. Were this wheel not in love, it would cry, enough. How long this turning? Every atom turns bewildered. Beggars circle tables, dogs circle carrion. The lover circles their own heart. Ashamed, I circle shame. A ruined water wheel. Every which way I turn is the river. If this rusty old sky creaks to a stop, still, still I turn, for it is only the universe circling itself.
And letting the vibrations of that poem continue a few more breaths as you breathe in, down into the heart, then down into the center of the earth. And then you're breathing up back into the heart and exhaling into the heavens. A few more times, really feeling that center pole. And in a way, in our hearts, we're uniting heaven and earth into this beautiful being of conscious self. You can think of the earth, all the basic selves, the heart, you, conscious self, the heavens, high self. They're all coming together, heaven and earth in your heart. Inviting the basic selves into your heart, all the different aspects, all the different parts, and then really bringing in high self too. And as you're ready, letting go of the pole and just breathing in and out of your heart, this beautiful center where everything meets. Just really opening to the garden of your heart today, to what your heart's like. Just breathing in and out of your heart, opening to the state, to just the presence of your heart today. Just seeing what form the garden of the heart takes, whether it's just a sense of energy or presence, or whether there's a memory of a place of sanctuary and nourishment, some place from your past, or you've dreamt about or read. But really bringing to the fullness of the heart, the garden of your heart. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. But gentle, richful inhalations, gentle, richful exhalations, more and more into the garden of your heart. When other selves come up and try to pull you away or need to plan or do whatever, just reminding them that right now we're circling around the heart, our awareness, our loving attention. And that's how we know what we circle around. Conscious self brings attention, in this case to the heart and to the garden of your heart. The attention's there, and then there's just a receptivity to allow whatever form that takes. Whatever the first form is of the garden of the heart, just allowing that to open. Just allowing yourself to notice, in all the different parts to notice, what's it like to have as the center at this moment your heart? Sometimes the center is the mind with all the thoughts, or the body with all the actions, but right now it's just the heart, your heart. Anytime during the day, you can stop and take a few breaths and center into your heart. We get lost and all the cells get activated and pulled in different directions. There's always this place to return to center. And you can stay with your heart, or if you wish, I invite you, when you're ready, to call with all love and all respect, High Self, your beloved, the angel of your being, into the garden of your heart for a time of communion, a time of guidance, a time of dialogue. But beginning with communion, just breathing in the fragrance, the blessing of High Self, breathing out love and gratitude. Letting High Self now be what you're circling around through your loving attention and receptivity. Breathing in the presence of High Self as the inhale. Exhale, surrendering to High Self and breathing love and gratitude out. Maybe you feel just the presence of High Self or holding that intention. Maybe there's sensations, maybe there's a feeling of love, maybe there's a fragrance or rose or other essence, or maybe there's a taste of sweetness, or maybe you see High Self through the sense of vision. Whatever way, just opening to just breathing, being with the presence of High Self and breathing back, surrendering and opening, sending back love, gratitude for this deepening relationship with High Self. Recognizing with this little intention, you can bring High Self to be the centripetal force to orbit around. Even in your day when you have to do things, this High Self can always be here in your heart. And you can have a circling around High Self as you engage in whatever actions you need. It can always be in the background supporting you. But beloved High Self, we seek your guidance. Any guidance today, you can just stay with being present with High Self if you wish, if that's what you're circling around. Or you can open to any guidance and direction about how to bring our awareness to circle around you throughout our days and our lives. How can we feel your centripetal presence inside, giving us an anchor, a ground, a sun to circle around? And we know there's so many parts that pull us in different directions. How can we help those parts? How can we help those parts that get lost, that go off in that centrifugal scatter, that forget that there's a sun in the middle, that there's something to circle around, that you're always there? How can we help those parts come back into orbit? Whether they're circling you or circling us who are circling you, these moons, how can we bring them back into orbit? And also we can be aware of we're all circling around the sun of high self, our conscious selves. And there are these other parts that are circling around us and indirectly circling around high self. But just be aware for a moment of all of us in the background. There are all these other planets, all these other precious beings gathered here, circling around high self with all their different parts circling around them. Just feel this whole solar system, all the 13 or 14 of us gathered here, all circling around the central sun of high self, as we're inviting all our different parts to circle around us as we engage in this huge circling. And know that each of us sometimes gets lost, and we get lost in a self that's flying off. And we can all just bring that quality of love to ourselves and to each other to remind those errant moons to come back. We all recognize that this task of being a human being is such a challenge, but such a delight and wonder, a mystery. And taking a moment to just invite one of these ones that pulls off, that loses itself, that goes off in centrifugal force. Inviting one in. Perhaps you can feel that one in your body, or there's a feeling state you can feel wanting to pull you into fear, or sadness, or worry, or perhaps there are the thoughts of this one, oh, what about this? Or perhaps you can feel this one wanting to do something with your body. Perhaps you see this one. And just taking a moment to really bring love and respect and that light of the sun of high self flowing through you to this, bringing that light and love to this one. Really breathing it in, breathing back love, light to this, whatever this one is that can so easily get lost. Just reminding it right now that you're here with love, and we'll just spend a minute or two opening to get to know this one. Look at that waking dream, to just be curious and just see, by listening, giving attention and love, that one can naturally come back into orbit around you. You might ask this one, does this one have a name that they wish to be known by? Another minute, if there's any way we can offer them help, aside from listening and bringing love and compassion and curiosity to them. And then inviting this one and any other selves that are present to just join in the breath of unity, to breathe with you as you're breathing with high self. Another way to circle is just through joining in the breath, inviting different parts to join in the breath with you, and all to synchronize the breath with high self. Really giving thanks for this time, for our inner life this morning, how we've all, and thanking all the selves that's allowed this space so we could take this moment to explore our inner lives, these deeper relationships we have with ourselves and the universe. I'm really thankful for this exploration of the wheel of life, the wheel of fortune, as we explore this turning. And with love and respect, we'll bow down, saying the sacred sound Hu to our inner lives. Hu. And then coming up to our outer lives, Hu again. And taking a moment in silence or writing to reflect on your journey like a dream. You can stretch or move, sit in silence and reflect, whatever supports you. And as you're ready, if there's anything you wish to share, we'd love to hear from you. We have a few minutes, mainly about what you're learning about circling on this wheel and what pulls you off and what helps you come into balance. Yeah.
And I realized last time that I didn't speak about ask for Mick. I don't know if Mick is in there, but I think I don't always see because he's in the background. But I wanted to let you know, Mick, I'd love to hear from you if you would love to say anything or if you'd like to.
Tap it in the chat box too.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of you, Mick.
Part of you is circling a little bit around Mick.
I am circling. I'm including him in my circle. He's waving. Okay, great. Thank you, Mick. It's definitely open to anybody else who would like to say anything. We may finish with it today. I think that this will be the end of our wheel as we go on to our next circle.
Because everything we bring for a focus is what we circle around for that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Sushila.
No, that's Nuri Kalbi.
Nuri Kalbi, right. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, sorry. I have to unmute everybody. There we go.
Now try to unmute.
Now try to unmute. Now try to unmute.
You still need to unmute yourself, Nuri Kalbi. Let's see. Yeah, I will try. There.
It's fine.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, at the moment, I don't feel like I have a lot of answers, but I have this sense when you said welcoming back the pieces with our curiosity and compassion, I thought, okay, that's part of what it is. Sorry, the phone's ringing. It'll stop in a moment. Actually, yeah, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, part of what circles with me when I don't feel fully centered is worry about members of my family or the world or things. And I know there's this great Buddha quote, I think it is. It doesn't help to worry. No good comes from worry. If you can fix it, fix it. But if you can't, neither way does worry help. And I'm not getting the quote quite right, but you get the idea. And yeah, so my higher self knows that's not real, knows that, all in the center is beautiful and the garden and all that. But maybe you have a clue to steer me, to help me bring that worry into a transformation that's.
You want to just be curious from the solar perspective. You could see the ones that are worrying are little moons they're just going off.
Mm-hmm.
So you really want to invite, if that's just not enough, going to high self and remembering the Buddha, sometimes those parts really need to be seen and listened to calm down.
Mm.
So when you're in a worry, you want to ask, what parts of me are worrying,
Uh,
right? And then this a moon that's flying off because it has no center in love. What was we saw this show? It was called Bodies. It's a very hard show, Korean TV. But this crazy person is blowing up the world, and he has this cult, and all the cult says is know you're loved. And as they go back in time, because there's multiple time, that's what ultimately heals. And he went off into all this through the time jumps because he didn't know he was loved.
Interesting.
So if you think of it from the Stoic perspective as these parts that are worrying, that never were loved and known and listened to, and maybe you resonate with right now thinking about times when you were young or little that you weren't listened to. So those parts don't just need to go, oh, it's all going to be okay. The Buddha's going to say it's okay. Those are like little kids going, huh? Your conscious self gets that, right? But they're like, you're worried. I want to hear you and your story.
Ah,
Okay? That's the
thank you.
Stoic perspective.
We have time for one more. Sorry, we went over a little today. Didn't have enough time. Okay, Maria Rahima. Yeah.
So this is the first time in weeks that I've stayed conscious during the meditation. And it was very interesting. It was a place that I often go to, and High Self is who she often is. She's this beautiful mermaid. But the room that we were in was filled with water. And she was breathing underwater, I was breathing underwater. And the part that came forward is a part that aspect, it seems like, of the judge, but it's the controlling judge. It's everything has to be the way this part needs it to be for there to be a sense of ease and comfort. And I don't think that I've come in contact with this part before. And so they've been so the acting out of it yesterday, I think it was yesterday at dinner time, made me more curious about it, because all the parts have been not doing that. I had a dream a little while ago about them all coming into an apartment, and they were all children and they all had pets, and High Self, there was a conscious part of me that said, oh, these are all my parts, I'll deal with you all later. It was nice to be present and conscious and in High Self, and the circling around seemed to help me more and directly. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing you all next Monday, and hopefully, God willing, and there may be another couple of people coming in, because some people asked to join after, and I said we had to wait until we go on to the next archetypal universal ideal that we're working with. So
I want to close with, what goes up must come down, spin and wheel, got to go round.
Spin that wheel from the center.
Ride the painted pony. There's your carousel with the spinning wheel ride, or whatever it is.
Turn. Bye. Take good care.